Welcome to this week's Down Home with Tina, and I have decided to do something new this year, and it's going to be something that I'm going to continue to do in months to come. I'm not quite sure. Right now I think I just want to do it once a month, and that is to just dress up a little different, have fun. So today I'm going back to the 70s, and I was born in the 70s, but I don't want to tell you what year I was born in the 70s, but I've got some fun facts about the 70s I thought I'd just share with you all today. First of all, I'm going to begin with my hairdo, and this was really a challenge for me to get to it because anybody who is a hairstylist, I guess, and anybody who's tried something new with their hair, you gotta train your hair to do some things. Well, this was called the Farrah, and it is from the Farrah Fawcett days back in the 70s when the show Charlie's Angels was on. And so that's just where I've tried to feather my hair back a little bit, and I got the earrings going on. I was looking for the big, I think they call them platform shoes or boots. Didn't come up with those, so it's okay. But bell bottoms are something that's back in style, and folks, that is something that I saw a few weeks ago that helped give me the idea about wearing and being looking like the 70s, is because they have the bell bottoms. So I was so excited. I've never owned a pair, and now I can say that I do. And you can own a pair as well if you want to bring back the 70s look as well. But some of the fun 70s facts is I was looking at stuff, and they were saying you were a cool kid if you had Star Wars toys. Well, you must not have been a cool kid. I didn't have a Star Wars toy. But banana seat bikes, those were cool back in the 70s. I did have one of those, and I wrecked it, I'm sure, more than once because I would get excited and get on my bike and go down hills and wipe out. Something else about the 70s, there was something called the Florida Project. The Florida Project, what would end up being the Walt Disney World Resort in Florida. And unfortunately, Walt Disney, he had passed away before that was finished in the 70s, obviously. And then what else is there that's to share with you about? Atari's. It was a Pong was released. Atari's game, the video game, that was one of the first one. They actually decided to put it in a local bar to see how it would do, and it was so popular that people ended up broke because of all the coin. Well, folks, I'm going to be back. I've got a great show coming up ahead. Stick with me. It'll be fun. You're watching Down Home with Tina.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Hi, I'm Brandon. I'm a recovering addict. For 10 of the last 11 years, I've been struggling with addiction, homelessness, incarceration, and just loneliness. However, since getting clean this past year, I've accomplished more than I have in those 10 years combined. After attending outpatient counseling services, inpatient counseling services, living in a sober living house, and attending 12-step meetings, I've been able to regain control of my life and begin to achieve goals I've always dreamed of. Addiction can destroy lives in many ways. Whether you need help with childcare or financial assistance, everyone deserves a new beginning. Recovery supports are just that, supports for recovery. My life mattered. Your life matters too.
This message is brought to you by the Fairfield County Adam H. Board.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. I have with me now from the Army Recruiting Station, Sergeant Kyle Hannum, and I'm really excited to have him. I know I've never, ever, even when I did radio, had anybody from the recruiting station be on the show. So I'm really, really excited that I was able to connect with you, and that's thanks to Josh Wentz, who recently was a guest on the show. He's a veteran, and I think it is your Sergeant First Class that he may know personally.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, and I was just like, awesome, because I do look to have Josh back, being that he is a Army veteran himself. But you are active military, of course, like I said, being at the recruiting station, and goodness gracious, I have so much to ask. And what's funny is before we got started, I've mentioned 2 Army bases that you were like,
never even heard
never.
of.
was like, oh, that's okay. It is what it is. It happens.
Do your viewers know that you are a veteran as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
I talk about it just because I'm so excited about when I get to have a veteran on to highlight and talk to, or anybody that's been in the military, currently in the military, because I think there's so much to be said with you taking that, I call it that big leap of just signing and saying, yeah, I want to be a part of our military and I want to fight for our nation and do what I got to do for our nation. So why did you get started?
Well, it's almost like the opposite of what most people say. I think when you ask most people, it's like service to country is a big one, and like the sense of pride of being something bigger than yourself. I'm very brutally honest kind of guy, and I had no intention of joining whatsoever. Like, it was never even on my radar. I was the kind of person that like sat at home and played video games like a lot. I mean, this is 10 years ago, but I sat on my computer many hours a day playing video games, and it was like never even a thought for me. And a recruiter called me up one day and he's like, hey man, you want to join the Army? And I was like, shoot, I'm too nice to hang up the phone. So I'm like, okay, I'll just talk to him. I'm gonna tell him no though. And I was like, no sir, sorry, you don't want me. I'm a tall, skinny, nerdy guy. I'm drinking Mountain Dew, playing video games in my pajamas. Like, you don't want me. And he goes, you don't know anything about the military, do you? And I was like, dang it, no, I don't. He goes, and he was real confident, and it's crazy because he just like, you could feel it through the phone, and he goes, hey man, look, come down to the office, 20 minutes. If this is for you, cool. If not, would you lose 20 minutes? And I was like, man, okay, done. I still at this point didn't think I was gonna to care at all. And I got there and I seen the college money and opportunities, and he asked me like, what do you want to be in the Army? Like, what job would you want to do? And I don't know how or why, but like I paused because I mean, before this, I was going to go to college, for computer science, something that I enjoyed. But for some reason, I said, I want to be an investigator. I want to be like a cop. Like, go to the crime scene and figure out who did it. And he goes,
really?
Okay, yeah. And so, like, none of my friends, family ever thought I'd be a cop. And in fact, when my parents heard about it, they didn't think I was serious. They thought it was a phase. So they let me play it out, and then months went by and I was serious. I was getting into it, and at this point they got scared, and like they offered to send me to like community college, and they said they'd pay for it and let me stay with them. And I was like, man, I can't. I have to do this to like prove it now. Like, one, I wanted to do it, and two is like, now I have to prove that I can do it on my own. And I did. I've never, besides a car they gave me when I graduated high school, that was the last thing I ever took from my parents, and I made my own way, and it feels really good to say that, to like.
Absolutely. What would you say is one of your proudest moments about being in the Army?
That is a good one. I would say when I actually went to airborne school, because I'm not a physical type at all. Like, I may be, we all wear the same uniform, but we are not the same kind of, like, I'm a goofy kind of guy, and I know it. And I was at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and they were like, hey, do you want to go to airborne school? And I was like, no, thank you. And they were like, okay, well, pack your bags, you're going to airborne school. And I was like, okay, got it, let me get on that. So there I am, at the school, and you're so nervous when you're on the plane because you're like, why am I jumping out of this? What normal human wants to do this? But when you're sitting there and you're like actually doing it, and it's unbelievable how nervous you are right before you jump out, but as soon as the light turns green and everybody just starts disappearing off the back of the plane and you get to the door, you're afraid you'll freeze. You're not scared of falling, and you're not scared of like what comes next. You're scared that you're going to embarrass yourself if you can't do it. Like, if for some reason you freeze and you don't, nobody really does, and you just jump out. And then, and I don't, there's no way to put this in words, but you go from unbelievable fear to complete excitement. Like, it melts away, and then like you're falling and the parachute's opening, and that's it. Like, now you're the happiest, like the most excited you could be. And I don't know, it's just, you can't put it in words.
So did you happen to have any time in basic training that, because I'm going to share my story, I don't think I've ever shared this before with the public, in basic training, that you were so embarrassed that you did something that, because I was always one of those that I wanted to do it right. I never got even a detention in high school. I always wanted to make sure that I was not going to get in trouble. I didn't want to cause ruckus or anything like that. Did you have anything like that happen to you in basic training at all?
Okay, you ready for this one?
Oh no.
Here we go. So I'm in basic training, and it was like January, I want to say. It was cold and it was snowing, and I was at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. So January there, that's cold and snowy, and we had to walk from the barracks to the dining facility, and it's like a quarter mile of a walk, but the sidewalks are icy, and they told us ahead of time. They said, get extra distance between you and like just try not to fall. But when you're 6'3" and you weigh 165 pounds, like I'm like a baby giraffe. I'm telling you right now, like that's just how I go. And this poor lady, she was like 38 years old, which is old for basic training. Let's just start there.
No, it is. Yes.
She's walking in front of me, and I hit an ice patch, and my foot went out, and out of reflexes, I grabbed her rucksack in front, and she came right down with me, and I felt so bad because they had to take her to the hospital, and like she broke her hip and everything. I mean, I don't know if it was actually broke or not, but like I definitely did some damage, and I'm sitting there the whole time like, oh my God, of course I would. I'm gonna be this guy. So they call us all out when we get there, and they're like, look, from now on we're gonna get more distant. It was
You were
bad.
social distancing 10 years ago, right? For basic training
Ahead of the
for
time.
safety.
I'm ahead of the time.
Yeah, you got practice on that. No.
So yeah, breaking an old lady's hip. There you go.
Oh yeah. No, it is very unusual for somebody to be in their late 30s like that. Even early 30s, they say that was a bit older because you're out there up against, I say up against because you're really a team, you're taught to be a team, but you're out there and it's individual, but it is team all at the same time, that they're 18-year-olds. And some of them, even in basic training, can they go at 17 and do that split still?
Yeah, we still do that.
You still offer that? Okay, yeah, I know. I was making sure. So sometimes it's 17 and 30. It's just a huge, huge difference. And they do put, I think, on the older ones that go in a little more responsibility. If I recall, I remember that's what was done back in my day.
I think because there's like 120 people per class, it's hard to like select certain people to be the mature ones or so, but they give everybody a shot. So I mean, I get what you're saying though. It's like you can like being a little older now, I can probably pick out the mature person in the crowd versus the 17-year-old too. But I get you. Yeah.
So what happened to me when I was in basic training was I asked somebody to watch my weapon, my M16.
I can already tell it's me a bad story.
Yeah, when I went to the latrine, and latrine's the restroom, it's the outdoor restroom, and she left it there. So you can only imagine what I got to do, because what happens when you leave you are to never leave. That is like big, huge, huge bad thing to do. Like that's probably one of the number one things.
I'd say so.
And I didn't leave it though purposely, so anyways, she left it, and because those cannot go inside any buildings when we have our military weapon with us. That I'm still correct, right? I'm trying to go back from then.
We bring them in now.
Well, I mean, I know too. Oh, well, yeah, disassemble and things like that and clean, right?
Nope. You pretty much sleep with them now too. Yeah.
Oh, inside.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Because everywhere you go is a federal training area in basic training, so it's not like you're taking it to Walmart.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, when you sleep in the bunk, it sleeps at the bottom of your bunk with you.
Oh, I didn't remember it going inside, but maybe I don't know. Somebody out there watching is probably like, no, Tina, you're wrong. It's been a really, really super long time. Anyways, I had to low crawl.
Oh.
Yeah, with my
I'm
weapon.
Sure for 30 whole seconds, right? I'm just kidding. I'm sure it was much longer.
It was pretty far, and then my face was to the ground, and I had to have my weapon with me while I was doing that, and I got scolded. And that was probably one of the most embarrassing things. So mine was not the typical way to join the military either. And those of you who have actually read that I was in an article, I talk a little bit about it. So mine wasn't a typical way either. I worked at the local Kroger's in Lancaster, and there was a fellow there, and I'm not sure, and you can tell me too, because this is something that we may want to tell people. When you get somebody to sign up under you, if you've already signed, you can get more rank.
Yep, you get a promotion still.
So
still doing that.
Still doing that.
Yep, that never went away.
And he got two. He got me and my cousin, and then my cousin joined, and I said, well, you can't go without me. Bam. I mean, I had just graduated high school. I was the cheerleader. So it's kind of funny because I got a group of friends that we all met during Desert Storm, and we hang out, and we always called ourselves the Private Benjamin group because, we wear the makeup, the earrings, and we dress up nice. We've only got a couple of minutes, and there's so much I wanted to share with people. Folks that are watching and they have child that might be interested in joining the military, Sergeant Hannum, what do you recommend that they do? Come in and just talk to you, because you even said yourself, you were not one that ever imagined in a million years that you would join the military.
Yeah, I would definitely say, one, talk to not just us. Like, I'm biased, don't get me wrong. I get paid by the Army to recruit for the Army, so I always try to tell people that to start off, because you know, if you're interested in one or the other, check them all out. And I say this to every kid about to graduate high school. Go shadow somebody in a trade school and go to college and see, not like sign up, but you know, like go check out a college, see if it's for you, and then talk to each branch of the military. And then when you're done with all that, research, you know, like go sit down and just research for yourself, because you're the one that has to live with this. It's your decision. So you want to like make that choice the most informed that you can.
Yes,
so
yes.
That's what I tell
One
people. Quick
question I wanted to ask you is your favorite down-home moment before we go.
Well, mine doesn't involve like a family or a family member, but when I was 16, I wanted to build a computer, and my grandpa gave me the, what are those, I don't know what they're called, but like bonds that you save up, and they save them up over the years for me, and he gave them to me when I was 16 so I could build my first computer, and that's what got me interested in the whole IT world. Yeah, so it was really something, you know. It's like I got to create something, you know.
Yeah, I think it's really great that you had no idea it was something that you were going to do, and one person called you up one day, and here you are. And I know you had said this to me before, but you plan on, and we got to get, but you are going to do this and retire from the military.
10 years left.
Thank you so much for what you do.
Thanks,
I'm highlighting you today, so I have a couple of things I would like to give you, but we'll get to that in just a minute. I'll be back, folks. You're watching Down Home with Tina.
Fairfield Federal. When it comes to our customers and our community, we go above and beyond to help. Our people make the difference.
We were retiring from Tucson, Arizona, and we made a retirement trip out around Ohio, having decided that's where we wanted to be. And we came across this town called Lancaster, and we fell in love with the downtown area, where the fountain is, and the memorials, and the flags, and all this stuff. And we looked around, and I said, there's our bank, right there.
There's something to be said about a community bank in your hometown.
Right. If you live in the community, you should do business in the community as much as possible. So it makes sense to bank with the community bank where you live.
Fairfield Federal is the bank to be at. If you live in this town, or any town actually, you want to bank at a local home bank. The employees are happy here, they're conversant, customer service is through the roof. There's nothing more you could ask for.
Personal or business banking, whatever you need, we take it seriously because we know you do. Stop by today at any of our 3 locations and see why the difference is clear. Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan specializes in banking that revolves around you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. It has been, I think, about a year or so ago that I had Tammy Drobino on. She's the executive director of the Fairfield Heritage Association, and I'm excited because now I get to have Marc Taylor with me. He is the director of the Georgian, which is one of the buildings that falls under the Fairfield Heritage Association.
Right.
And oh my goodness, so what a year it's been since Tammy was on with me last.
A lot has changed.
A lot has changed. And I did get to see on social media a couple of weeks ago that you are going to have an event coming up, but we're going to get to that in a minute. Marc, can you share with folks about what it's been like and what you all have been able to do in the last, 9 or so months, I think it's been, since all of this has happened?
So last year when the pandemic started, we did get a couple of events on. We're a nonprofit organization, so we have various events to raise money. So we were able, beginning of February of last year, have General Sherman's birthday celebration. We got that in. That was early February. And then we did have a Valentine's tea at the Georgian in February, but then everything got shut down shortly after that. So all of our other events for 2020 were canceled. Our big event every year is the home tour. And then we, in the past, we've had a Fall Patrons Party or Oktoberfest, and that was canceled also as other major fund event or fundraiser there.
And that's what I was going to say. It's
Yeah.
very important that this one be as well, go to the max, because I know that there's a limit of, because you guys, you're a nonprofit organization, and
Yes.
these events are how you raise money to what? Maintain probably the buildings? And
Yes, to maintain the buildings, just the operating of them, pay the electric bills,
Yeah.
phone bills and everything, heating bills, keep those going. The maintenance on them, you'd be surprising. Those buildings are approaching 200 years old.
Right.
How much maintenance there is on those. So to do those, so it is very important, the fundraising we do, that we can, meet our goals and everything. So.
Before I get to the event, why is it that you decided to get involved with this?
With the Heritage?
Working with, yeah.
I've been a member of the Heritage since mid-1980s. Try not to date myself there.
Oh, I'm just in the 70s, and it's okay because I grew up then.
And so for a number of years, long time, I was a docent at the Georgian, meaning docent being I would give the tours of the building there, and I talked about the history, the items in the museum there. And then I did move away. I was born and raised in Fairfield County here, so always been here. Love Fairfield County. Around I think it was 1999, I moved to Chicago for my job, lived up there for about 6 years, moved back, got involved with the Heritage again, and I was on the board of directors, and then I was the past chair of the board of directors. And then over the last year, I've been the director of the Georgian Museum. So I love history. I love Fairfield County history, especially the buildings, the people, and the objects that the Heritage has collected over the years.
What is your very favorite thing about the Georgian? Or there may be more than just one.
It is hard. There's a lot of really nice things in there. If you haven't been there, it's like a little jewel sitting in the middle of Fairfield County there. But we're fortunate to have the building and the home. I think the most unique thing about it is, I always say, like, I've been to a lot of house museums throughout the country in my job. Fortunately, I was able to travel a lot and always try to stop and see house museums. This one, the architecture, the age is very outstanding. And the other thing is we have a lot of original furniture and objects that the original owners used in that home, which you rarely see in house museums where they've been
really
passed back to us from family members. So.
And you would know that, being that you visited. How many would you say museums or homes
that I've gone through?
Yeah, that you even.
Well over 100, I think, over the years, easily throughout the country. So.
That's a really neat thing to do.
Yeah.
Because my goodness, I'm sure you have. And there's. So what's the neatest of what you've seen from someplace else that you think would be, is there one that does stick out? Because there's so much history.
Outside of the Georgian?
Outside of Lancaster.
I was trying to think, down at Circleville, it's still local. It's called Mount Oval, and it's an early brick farmhouse. It's just built outside of Circleville there. The architecture of it's very unique. The way it's right off 22. If you're heading south out of Circleville, you can see it.
Really?
Just the way the house is built, it has these small corner rooms, and there's like a connection in the architecture with Thomas Jefferson's home in Monticello, so it's very unique. So.
What is the oldest home you've visited? Do you know?
I've been out east, and you get into like the colonial homes there. I think I can't remember what town it was when it was like 1600s,
Neat.
Colonial home there. So very interesting.
Still, it's original, as much as they can.
As much as they can, yes.
Yeah.
So, you go into these museums, there's always a interpretation of how they might have lived, what they might have had, That's why I kind of think with the Georgian, where we have a lot of original objects.
Yes.
We know for sure
this
is what they had used in this home. So.
Yeah. So let's talk about now, you guys are having an event and the way you're going to have this event, because typically when you have your Valentine's Day tea parties, it's you come in and you participate in a tea party, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Not so much this year, right?
Right. Yeah. Normally we have 3 teas throughout the year. One at Valentine's, one in conjunction with the Lancaster Festival, so usually towards the end of July, and then one prior to Christmas. So obviously, we can't have them in the home because it's just too close, and with the pandemic, we can't do social distancing properly in there. So we were kind of brainstorming last year, how could we maybe pull off some fundraising events. And so I think somebody threw out, well, the teas are canceled. And it's like, someone's like, well, why do we have to have it in the museum? Can we do something else? And this idea of a drive-by, originally it was called the drive-by tea. So we kind of changed that name a little there. So we called it Tea To Go. So we did do one. The first one we did was in the fall of last year. And so we decided to do it again for Valentine's Day to keep in timing with our normal schedule. So it's Valentine's Tea To Go. It'll be on Sunday, February 14th. So Valentine's falls on a Sunday this year, so which is perfect for this event. Basically from 1 to 3 p.m. So how it will work, you would have to purchase a ticket or your ahead of time for it. You can do that by calling the Georgian Museum for Fairfield Heritage office, or go online at fairfieldheritage.com. The cost is $20. And we are offering a unique opportunity this time. We're giving it a try that instead of you driving to the Georgian to pick it up that day, we are offering for additional $5, we'll deliver anywhere in Fairfield County.
Nice.
So maybe if you want to surprise a significant other with this Valentine's treat, it could be delivered that day there. So it's a very, trying to even build it off better what we did in the fall there. So
what are some tips that you can share with folks if somebody wants to surprise somebody that you can set up in your own home a little tea setting? To help make it more of that, nostalgic kind of instead of being at the Georgian, they can have it in their own home.
Yeah, so and a lot of people did that with our fall Tea To Go.
Oh, they did?
They would take the baked goods home, and then they would set up a little tea event, with their family members or their household there. But kind of like the way we do it at the Georgian would be kind of set up a table, try to make it look very nice. Tablecloth, plates, then where the tea is brewed, kept in like teapots there. So you can kind of recreate that atmosphere at home, and not near the work because you have all your baked items already ready for the tea.
Yeah, so I think it's fun. And get in costume if you can and wear the hat and everything. Your favorite down-home moment, Mark, because we've only got maybe 30 seconds.
All right, real quick. My favorite down-home moment, I think, at the time I looking back, spending with my family. Very fortunate, have a very close family. Most of them are here in Fairfield County. And I remember a lot, times with my mom and dad, so fortunate they're still with us. And so we spent a lot of good time together. And also with my grandparents. My grandparents lived down on the farm, spending time down there when I was young, and then after they retired. Then also my dad's mom I knew, and just spending time with family has been the best part of growing up.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for being with me. And anybody that just wants to give a monetary donation, I'm sure that you can reach out to the Fairfield Heritage Association and do the same thing, just because as many of our nonprofits, it's been just one of those crazy years. It's been crazy for everybody, but if you have that extra and you like to give to them, please reach out to them. You are watching Down Home with Tina, and I'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
Dagger Law has been part of the Lancaster community for more than 110 years. This is where we live and work. You'll see us at festivals, sporting events, and all around town. We consider our clients as friends, and we walk alongside you through challenging times. Whether you're a growing business, a changing family, facing litigation, planning your future, or dealing with land issues, we're right here. We are local. We are trusted. We are experienced. Dagger Law.
Hey folks, it's my 70s show, I call it. I want to thank you so much for watching Down Home with Tina. I've got some great sponsors. I hope you can make it out to one of these local businesses. They do amazing things. They're wonderful folks in our community, and they are the reason why I can bring Down Home with Tina to you. Check out my Facebook page, Down Home with Tina, CLN, Your Hometown Connection. Ooh, that just came out so fast. You can check that out on YouTube, and you can see the show. I also have a quote that I wanted to leave with you today, a positive quote from Down Home with Tina. You're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. I hope that you will always and forever believe and you. I also hope that you have a wonderful week, and watch me next week. You never know what's going to happen. It is the Down Home with Tina show. Thank you, God bless, and good day.